biologically. Now we have another technology which scanner evolved into, and that's a Cosmotic technology. It's what we call the scanner plus, meaning it's scanner but plus something else. So Cosmotic is the technology that was invented to stimulate regeneration in the human body. It's also electrical stimulation with a feedback, just as scanner is. But if scanner uses only one channel of feedback, Cosmotic uses 46. Meaning that there's so much more information the machine is receiving from the body at each moment in time. Cosmotic fine-tunes itself to the body. It's not as challenging as scanner, it's a softer one. But in this softness, it can show the body how to heal. It literally amplifies the body's healing vibrations. So scanner is a challenging impulse. It breaks the cyst, forces the body to respond. There is no other way for the body. The cyst is broken, the body has to deal with that. It can be challenging, absolutely. Cosmotic works differently. The body is still, even the cyst is there, the body still has certain healing responses to it. It still tries to do something about it. It's just not strong enough. Cosmotic can pick up those vibrations, resonate with it, and increase it. So the body now can deal with that. So Cosmotic will not be challenging, but it will make the body stronger so the body can deal with the problem now. For acute problems, Cosmotic is great. Works faster than the scanner. With chronic problems, scanner is faster, but Cosmotic is more profound. For Cosmotic, because with a chronic problem, Cosmotic now will be helping the body deal with that versus just breaking the wall. That takes time. And when you start healing from chronic condition with a Cosmotic, it may take a longer time than you do it with a scanner. But the results will be more profound. So in reality, you need both. You need the scanner to challenge the body when it's needed, and you need to help the body to increase its healing vibrations when it's needed. So when Cosmotic technology was first invented, and we called it second generation of scanners, that the little machines, 715 for example, or CDAV, they represent the scanners of second generation of Cosmotic technology. When they first came out, and that was about 4 years ago, I think, started about 5 years ago, but really we got our good first machines about 3 years ago. We first looked at them and said, okay, now it replaces scanner. And we found it didn't. It didn't replace the scanner. It added the profoundness, and it now can show the body how to regenerate. And now it can wake up the body's regenerative program and increase the amount of stem cells in the body. And now it can clean those programs so the body can heal with no scarring, which is a great feature. Because see, why the body forms scars? Because it needs to heal. But in order to heal, restoring the structure is much more difficult than just to form a scar. Scar is a connective tissue. So no matter, the body needs to heal the wound. So it just forms it again, but it works on the principle of economy of energy. It takes less energy to form a scar than to rebuild the muscles and skin, right? And tendons. So the body will just, because it doesn't have much energy anyway, it just forms a scar. So imagine that our body has enough energy, and it has the memory of how to rebuild the new tissue. Then we get a winning combination. Now, with the laser being the source of energy for the body, and the Cosmotic training the body on regeneration and reminding that it was the program there in the beginning, how to regenerate the tissue, the body doesn't have to build the scars anymore. It can really rebuild the tissue as it used to be. And we see it happening. We see hearts healing after heart attacks with no scars. Stomach ulcers restoring lining with no scars. It doesn't happen in the Cosmotic still, it's a great technology, but it's still not perfect. We cannot really regenerate limbs. But what we saw happening is regrowing a tooth. Chipped tooth in front. Half of the tooth gone. Put the little buttons, well, have to walk around for a little while, what Dr. Karasi says about 2 weeks. Well, the tooth is growing animal back. So it is possible. It can restore a cavity. It can restore the bone. So it can grow back. Now we're working on more regenerative effects, and new technologies will be, and of course Cosmotic is not the end of the road. It's just the next step. It's a second of the scanner of the second generation. But it is a way for the body to restore its regenerative powers. So there is where the scanner technology is going now. Okay, this we don't need really. Now the third technology, our Solaris blanket. And Solaris blanket is a really funny one. Here we have our Solaris blanket. Solaris blanket is the simplest feedback device possible. It's a mirror. It's just a sheet of metallized fabric inside the device, kind of similar to what cosmonauts used in their costumes while in space. Protective from EMFs from outside, but also reflecting the body's natural radiation back to the body. Working as a natural energetic mirror for the body. One of the metals in the alloy of metals that is in the inside layer is called palladium, and palladium is a natural electron donor. So here we have another source of negative charges to the body. So it's the blanket is a little electron donor plus energy mirror. It will work better as an electron donor if you once in a while throw it outside, let it charge in the sun, and then wrap yourself in that. And it will work better. But even if you don't do it, it will still work great, just as an energy mirror. So what the blanket does, it reflects back the energetic portrait. So the body will see, he will see Dr. David in a blanket, and a little helmet on his head, which made out of blanket material also. So yeah, what you also see that he has a laser in his hand, right? And what is great here, when you cover yourself with a blanket and you put the laser inside, the laser light stays inside and will be distributed over the body much better because the blanket will keep it inside. Well, some of course will be radiated in the space, but more of the laser light will stay inside. Now, David doesn't really use blanket in the correct way, because the more you cocoon yourself in a blanket, the better. It has to really, the less skin is sticking out, the better. Put this way, right? So if you are wrapped as a mummy, that's the best way. He has his feet out, his hands out, and his head out. So that's not right. So it actually needs to be a mummy. And even if your feet really wrapped into that. We still didn't get to the point which we, over the last 2 years, we were trying to get the sleeping bags, like a sleeping bags. But the problem is the zipper. Because it interrupts the energy flow, so the blanket cannot be sewed. Like, you can't really put the punctures through the material, because the whole point is that the inside material needs to be distribute electrons along. Yeah, we are working on it actually, because in our new facility where we just moved, that's what we are doing. So we will have sleeping bags really shortly. Mm-hmm.
Could you put like a blanket on the bed and then put one over the top?
That's what we always do. We call it a sandwich. We call it a sandwich. Yeah, we put one blanket on the bottom on our bed, and we have another one on top of our normal blanket.
And is that okay to sleep all night?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all it is. It's energy accumulator. In the beginning, your body will go through a little adjustment, will be a little uncomfortable. You know what? When you sleep under that, the body will throw it out. Like you will wake up with no blanket on it. You will just, subconsciously you will throw it out if you don't want it. Your body, if
put it on top of another blanket then. It's okay to do that.
Oh yeah, that's easy. The blanket is probably the easiest feedback device ever. works, doesn't need any charging. It's a mirror. Whatever, mirror is the simplest feedback device. Very soft, and it's great for any kind of condition. So we use it with the scanner, with the lasers and stuff. So here is the pictures. It's a version of Kirlian photography. They take your pictures with their fingers. So this is your aura. Actually, pretty bad case of a client with a colon cancer. And you see there's little arrows showing holes in the aura, basically. And on the right, it's after about 30 minutes in the blanket, you see how stronger aura became and how the holes in the aura are closing. So that's pretty dramatic, even though it seems like a very simple device, but it's pretty dramatic. We have also other pictures, and we just, for the lack of time, we are not showing it, but we do have wonderful PIP images of aura taking with the client. So Judy, you know, we have Gail. Remember the pneumonia in the Bahamas? We had a guy who did PIP, and we have about 5 clients, PIP before and after. Dove, blanket, fusion. We have great pictures of Gail with the pneumonia.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I do have them on my computer. I can show you that. But that's pretty dramatic, actually, how energy field changes with the use of one or another tool or several of them.
Dr. Irene, I've
Yes.
heard of more than one person having nightmares.
With a blanket?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they will. Well, yeah, guys. Okay, ideas.
So that they know.
Why do the people have nightmares in the blanket? Energy systems are breaking up. Of course, this is like all your memories are coming back, which is good. It's temporarily, as the body will process it, and you will, of course, you will.
A little interesting. The more they don't know their body can, and a lot of itises, they don't know who they are. In fact, their body has rheumatoid arthritis, so they could have some, take the blanket slow, because if their immune system can't recognize who they are, you know, when you put the blanket around them, then they can't. And the same thing with nervous. An interesting story with my dad with diabetic neuropathy. After 5 minutes, he goes, it feels like it's bringing me back, you know? Well, yeah, Dad, isn't that a good thing? You know, I said, Dad, you got a choice. You can gut it out and just do it for 2 hours and get over it, or 5 minutes and then 6 minutes a day and stuff. And he chose to do that, and that's fine. But he was uncomfortable being reflecting himself. So you'll find people with nightmares, and others are people who don't know themselves real well. They don't recognize themselves.
Have a lot of itis.
Yeah, tend to have that.
Well,
Whatever.
wouldn't that be also a place where your energy would be coming from unresolved issues?
Yeah, of course.
Issues?
And at least you become aware.
And so it breaks up, or the encapsulation of that memory in the body. So
It's a good thing, and it's temporary thing. It's not, they're not going to be stuck with it, but they have to process it. It will be coming back until they process the information.
Thank you.
So that's any.
People who complain that it's too hot.
Actually, normally it shouldn't be. So again, it's temporarily, as the body is responding to something. Unpleasant sensation, while the body gets the image of itself, can be a very different nature. They can complain they're hot. Some of people will complain their hands are cold and their feet and hands are really cold. Some will say it's the body is tingling. That's a very good sign. And one of the best, Chris McCormick, I think, was saying the humming. Someone in a really bad case of Crohn's disease was humming in the blanket, like the body was, the sense of humming, and she had tremendous results after that. So feeling of tingling, vibrations, humming is really good. Hot, cold, they will, after a while, the body get over it. Most likely, the body wants to sweat, like the 2 or 3 sessions. The clients will be really sweaty. It will pass after about 5 sessions, but the body needs to get rid of toxins through sweat. So if a client is hot, most likely they need to sweat and get the stuff out that way. We typically keep sheets, separate sheets for every client if we use the same blanket in a clinic, but individual sheet for every client. And we don't wash that sheet because even sweat is actually good. We just dry it out, but it's also like homeopathy for the next procedure. So you use your own remedy to remind the body what is out there. So just about once every 3 or 4 procedures we would wash it. So now just to give you a summary again, scanner, laser, blanket. Scanner increases awareness of the system of what is going on. It can show the body where the cyst is. It can point the body's attention to the cyst and help the body to break it. But the big deal is to show the body that that's the cyst there. Let's pay attention to it. Because when the body creates the cyst, it creates it not to bug the rest of the body. Meaning the body will be ignoring that place. And we don't want the body to ignore it. We want the body to pay attention to it, deal with it, and get it over with. Scanner can identify by just running along the skin where the cyst is. Can point the body's attention to it and help the body to break the cyst. Scanners are really good at the stud finder for the energy cyst. So that it works perfectly for that. A laser will recharge the biological battery, will make the cells function better, will give the body more energy in dealing with the cyst and support the healing all the way through. It will introduce the new coherent order to the body, so the body can remember what coherency feels like. Blanket will protect the body in the interim, will not let any silent killers EMFs to go into the cocoon, and will also support the restructuring by giving the body image and creating a feedback. That's another way of looking at it. It's the same basic information, just put in a point format. So scanner and Cosmotic disrupt energy cysts, jumpstart healing, and leads the body, helps the body to go through entire cycle of the disease until it's over. That's the final goal, final objective of every scanner treatment, to get it over with. Help the body to go through the full program of the disease and finish the program until nothing left, until it's over, until it's another 0 on a new quality level. In this situation, the body will be already stronger, more wise, mature. Well, next presentation we will talk about that. But the agenda is to finish the disease, break the cyst, gone, over, nada. Laser supplies additional energy, repolarizes cell membranes, promotes osmosis in the cell, and opens the dual way of letting nutrients in, getting the garbage out. Improves the cellular communication through introducing coherent vibrations and helping the body to be transparent for our fiber optics. The blanket accelerates the healing process, concentrates energy, accumulates the body's bioenergy, mirrors the body's image back to itself, and also help to protect the body from outside influences, disruptive outside influences. So that's kind of basic why these things work together. Well, on a cellular level, we already got that. We already pretty much went through what the system does on a cellular level. So it re-energizes cell membranes, it stimulates production of ATP, which is the energy source for the body, improves blood and lymphatic circulation, improved oxygenation, improves nerve cells potential. Even collagen production improves. Actually, it's oh yeah. For the skin, for the beauty, that's why we do it. We have the protocol that we will be going through, the Cinderella protocol. Accelerates regeneration of epithelial cells, as well as many other cells, and growth factor, and also promotes cell proliferation and regeneration. So these are cellular kind of effects of the fusion. Now, a few more examples. This is the spider bite. Brown recluse spider bite. Bad case. Well, you know, that brown recluse spider is a deadly insect. So that's the poor guy. He was a chef in the restaurant. So that's unfortunate thing. So that's dynamics. Here we go. And I believe it was done in like about 3 or 4 days, so real fast. One more time? With this. Yeah, if you can see that. It's all necrotic tissues, yeah. It's all necrotic
There
tissue.
isn't any medical.
There is nothing that you can do about it.
Nothing.
There are no drugs to contradict that venom. There is nothing.
So what was the first time doing this?
Right?
How was it treated?
Oh, that was mostly the laser, I believe. It was Pat Knox's case, right?
It was just, no, it wasn't that. It was just a Q1000.
Okay,
It was treated. So, actually, it wasn't. It was the same as the Q10, but an earlier version called the Pegasus. So this was another $1,300 device that actually treated it. So.
Okay, so one more time, just going through the dynamics and how hair started growing and the necrotic tissue is just turning into normal tissue, which normally would fall off, probably. So, okay, this is the last case I want to show you. This is the case from the archives of the scanner archives. And this was from the very first generation scanners. 1-year-old boy who developed a bad osteomyelitis of the shoulder. And you will see in a little while that the shoulder it was completely resolved, like no shoulder anymore. Osteomyelitis, it's bad inflammation, mostly Staphylococcus or Streptococcus, which, like a flesh-eating disease, eats the bone. So there is no bone, but the interesting case in this, why we are showing this, if you can see, the normal shoulder bone has the head, like a round head. So over here we have the beginning. Yeah, right. Yeah, so there is no head of the bone here already, but there's still something there. The child was 1 year old. There was no particular reason for it. I don't know why that condition has been developed. He was operated because the only way of dealing with osteomyelitis is to get the pieces of bones out and trying to prevent infection from spreading. It didn't help. The child had to go through surgery 4 times because they would remove piece. He would be discharged from the hospital. A few days later, he would go back because the inflammation continues. So 4 surgeries, one after another. And as soon as he was discharged the 4th time, developed inflammation again. And it's a 1-year-old child. Mom just could not take him back. So found a practitioner. One of the probably best scanner practitioners ever, Dr. Joseph, and he started treating with this very old scanner. Interesting in this case was as follows. So this is like completely, head of the bone completely gone. They started treating at that moment, that was X-ray that was done in the medical hospital where he was under observation. At that time, obviously, as you can imagine, no head of the bone, no function. So the arm was like this, right? Now, child started doing certain motions with his arm, started grabbing toys with his arm, and on X-ray it was still this. So, like 8 months later, he would go for checkup. That would show on X-ray nothing, no structure to support the function, and yet he started using his arm. When the doctor, medical doctor, who didn't know what child was going through treatment-wise, asked mom what the child can do, and mom said, well, he pretty much can do everything. He just doesn't really, have a strength in his arm, but he pretty much, he has takes the spoon, and the doctor said, well, he cannot do it. He doesn't have a bone to support that. Well, I'm sorry, but he does watch. And she said, well, open-minded doctor enough. She said, whatever you do, just keep doing. Watch what's happening. Function went ahead of the structure. The body grew structure following the function. And the reason why the body did it, because it was a 1-year-old boy. Very fast growth. So the body is growing fast. If the bone would regenerate to the original shape, it wouldn't match the growing body. So the body was growing the bone back, piece by piece. Watch that. This is little nucleuses start to form over here. Like a little sections here and there, little sprouts. At that point, function is almost completely back, like he can do everything. Now we can see here, like this is little nucleuses. Oops, start forming. This is 2 years down the road, and here we go. Our fully formed head. See that? The body grew it back fully to what it's supposed to be, but a bigger size now, because the child is already older, so he's bigger. So that's the beginning and that's the end. See that? In comparison. And that's just old Skinner. Could the body do it on its own? It needed to be reminded. It needed to be reminded. And that's the boy. So that, well, it's happened in a small Russian town. So he has the jam. It's like the jam, jugs of jam. So that's the kind of what the fusion can do, guys. And that's the end of this presentation.